everybody, I'm Sue Fleece, and I'm so happy to be able to read you a story tonight. And hopefully it'll be your bedtime story. But if not, maybe you have another book that you want to read after this. But I'm going to read you my brand new Sadie Sprocket Builds a Rocket. And actually it just came out this week, so the book is brand new, and I've only read it a couple of times, so you guys are some of the first kids I'm reading it to. And this is the story of Sadie, who is a girl who loves outer space, and she checks out books from the library to learn all about outer space, and she realizes that no one has been to Mars yet. So she decides she's going to be the first one to Mars. And she also, which is so fun that we have all of your stuffed animals right in front of me, she is taking her stuffed animals as her crew. So she'll be the astronaut, and then she has a bunny and an owl and a bear who are her other astronaut friends who go up into space with her. And I want you to be listening for rhyming words because this story is written in rhyme. I like to write a lot in rhyme, so if you have some of my other books, you might notice that too. And I've got all of your friends here, even this little guy down here. And I even brought my stuffed animal from when I was about 10 years old. I think I still had the stuffed animal and I kept it all these years. And I think I just called him Bear. It's kind of sad, I didn't really give him a name, but he was my pink bear. And now I'm gonna read you Sadie Sprocket Builds a Rocket. And the illustrator's name is Annabelle Tempest, and she lives in England. And this is published by Two Lions. Are all of you guys ready for a story? All of my animal friends? They're saying yes, they're ready for a story. And there we can see all of the little animals. Am I close enough? And there's our Sadie dreaming about outer space. Sadie Sprocket had a wish to travel far from here, to venture through the galaxy, beyond our atmosphere. She checked out every book on space, learned all there was to know. No one's been to Mars, she said. I'll be the first to go. So one day, Sadie drew a map to navigate the stars. It's time to leave the Earth, she said, and travel straight to Mars. Because the journey would be long, she thought she'd bring a crew. And now you can see all these guys are her stuffed animals from her bed, remember? She interviewed and tested each, and then she chose a few. So she chose her owl and her bunny and her bear, and they are going to go up into space with her. First, they have to build a rocket, right? They rummaged through the junkyard and gathered every part. They counted, weighed, and measured twice. She couldn't wait to start. So they're gathering a bunch of recycled materials to build a rocket. I bet you guys have made projects from recycled materials before. Sadie and her crew worked hard to build her rocket ship. She scanned her map and chose a date to make the stellar trip. We launched today, young Sadie said. I've tested every switch. She knew that even one small blip could cause a major glitch. Friends and family wished her well. Reporters flocked to see. This spacebound girl with smarts and skill would soon make history. Do you think they're going to make it to Mars? Let's see. 10, 9, 8, she counted down. The engine shook the lawn. You guys can do this with me. Let's count down from 7. Ready? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The ship was gone. And there it goes, blasting off into space. Oh, what do we know about space? Is there gravity in space? No, so she's weightless, and so are all of the objects that aren't tied down. The journey took 100 days. She knew it would be tough, but Sadie kept their spirits up. We'll be there soon enough. The crew tried playing cards and games without too much success. The pieces floated all around and made an awful mess. Uh-oh, there's chess pieces and checkers and cards floating all around. I think they need to figure out something else to do. Instead, they read to pass the time and took turns making food, while Sadie wrote down everything and tracked their altitude. Altitude is a big word, but it means how high they're going. The Earth behind, so far away, was now a tiny dot. Then Sadie cried, "There's planet Mars. It's smaller than I thought." As their ship was closing in, the captain told her crew, "We'll set up camp and gather samples. We've got work to do." Sadie scanned her map of Mars to find a place to land. "We'll put the ship down over there, upon the level sand." "Get your samples," Sadie said. They filled up 20 bags. They tied them tight and labeled them, and then they planted flags. After one last photograph, oh look, they're taking a selfie. She's got a selfie stick. They packed up their supplies. Then Sadie stopped to look around and noticed flashing skies. So on Mars, they have storms. Just like they have here, they're a little different storms, but they can be lightning and sandstorms. "A storm is coming, time to go." They strapped in for the flight, but then the rocket wouldn't budge. They couldn't leave the site. "The landing gear is buried deep. We have to dig it free." They jumped back in, but sand was swirling. Now they couldn't see. Uh-oh. See all the sand swirling around the rocket? When the storm had settled down, they got their chance to fly. But then the rocket wouldn't start. There's one thing left to try. So Sadie has to constantly think of ways to solve their problems, right? They got to work as a team. She quickly grabbed her rocket tools and checked the circuit board. They cleared the sand and fixed the wires. Power was restored. So there was all sand all in all of the electronics of the ship. They had to get the sand out. Once the ship had warmed enough, she shouted, "Time to blast!" They zoomed by stars and asteroids and made it home at last. Sadie made the nightly news. The world now knew her name. The first to land on planet Mars had rocketed to fame. She triumphed in her mission, but Sadie wasn't done. This pioneer of space had plans. She'd only just begun. And look, there's all the pictures they took while they were on Mars. Oh, everybody's cheering for them when they came home. "One more question, please," they said. "What's next for you, Miss Sprocket?" "Maybe Neptune, but for that, I'll need a bigger rocket." Sadie is already back and setting her sights on the next big adventure, maybe to Neptune. And then if you like these kinds of things, there's a bunch of facts in the back about Mars and all about women in space and engineering. And you can read about that, or your parents can read you about that. The end. So that is Sadie Sprocket Builds a Rocket. And I hope you guys liked that story. And I think we're going to take questions now, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to take everybody off mute.
Okay.
There they are.
All right, we're just getting set up to take some questions. You want to raise your hand if you have a question?
Share screen.
Anybody have a question?
I can share screen.
Oh, I don't hear some people still on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a
Oh,
question.
Marie.
Marie?
How do you raise
Stop.
How did the ball make a rocket ship come out of the sand?
Oh, they landed on the sand, and when the storm came, the bottom part of the rocket got buried in sand. So they just rolled the sand away so that the rocket could take back off. Good question.
How many stuffies are there?
Oh, okay. We've got, this was mine. We've got purple. And, oh, we have Big Bunny. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stuffies plus mine is 10. We have, a lot of them have nice names. And which one is yours?
The elephant.
Oh,
Horse.
This is
Elephant and Meredith.
And Meredith. Yeah, and Elephant.
That's
Oh, there she is. I see her flash.
that one.
Henry, are you there, Henry?
Yes,
Henry's here.
Hi, Henry. I heard it's your birthday tomorrow.
Yes,
Oh, that's so exciting. Said about that.
Want to raise your hand, or your boy raising
We're
his hand?
taking good care of all the animals. Are having a wonderful sleepover here tonight, and they can't wait to snuggle together. And then tomorrow they'll be back with you guys.
Aurora, is your hand raised?
Aurora, are you ready? You want to ask a question? Okay.
What? How do you build a rocket ship?
Wow. So this is your Penguiny, right?
Penguiny.
Penguiny and I don't really know how to build a rocket ship, but there are people that are in engineering. So engineers know how to build rocket ships, and the people at NASA know how to build rocket ships. So I don't really know, but there's a lot that goes into building a safe ship that can go into outer space. But maybe one day you'll study engineering and you'll build a rocket ship. We have another question up on the top there. I just see family.
Let's see, who else? Oh, that's Henry. Oh, Sadie has a question.
Oh, Sadie has a question. Hold on, we're taking you off of mute.
Why did you decide to write a book about space?
That's a great question. So I love outer space, and I was getting really interested in all of the things that the astronauts are doing with Mars. And do you guys know that NASA is actually sending the Perseverance rover to Mars? It's landing this month, and it's going to collect samples and bring samples back. And it's the first time they're ever bringing samples back from Mars. I know, it's a big deal. And do you also know that a kid in Virginia got to name that rocket the Perseverance rover? So I was reading all about this, and I thought, well, that would be really cool if I would write about somebody that goes to Mars. And I didn't really know exactly what I was going to write yet, but I knew I wanted to write about going to Mars. And so I did a lot of research on what it would take to actually get to Mars. And so that sometimes I'll get an idea for a story just by reading the news or reading other books in the library. So that's kind of how that story came about. It was a little bit about my own interest in space, and then also reading about Mars and what they're doing now. And it's supposed to land on Mars February 18th, which is my birthday. Isn't that special? So,
I can't tell me as a question.
and we're gonna see Daniel have a question. Daniel?
No, that's
Oh,
not.
sorry.
This Rex's owner, I believe.
Rex's owner.
Right.
Which one's Rex?
Dakota.
Bunny.
So,
Buddy is
it's Dakota.
Oh,
Okay.
hi,
So,
Dakota.
I just want to say, can I see my stuffy again?
Yes.
Which one is
Dakota
Which one is yours,
has-
Dakota's?
I believe
The T-Rex.
Oh,
that's
sorry.
Rex. That's Rex. Yep. And,
Okay.
Give him a hug for you.
and then we have another T-Rex.
Oh, there's
and
another
this is Buddy.
T-Rex buddy.
I think I really know that that's Alex's.
Alex's.
Oh,
That's
that's
our
right.
I love these. Are so they look like very happy T-Rexes. Are they happy?
Yeah. And what is the orange and white thing on them?
Well, they're
Oh,
named-
that's just their names. We put name tags on them.
Cool.
Yeah, so when you go to a party and you don't know anybody, it's really nice to have name tags so you can say, hi Sue, or hi Sadie. And these guys can now say, hi Rex, hi buddy.
On there, ask the question.
I'm getting some help with the questions because the computer's a little far away from me. No, it's okay.
Dakota. Let's see. Anybody else?
Oh,
I
there's a
can't
question
tell
on the
if that's a
bottom.
Yes, that is.
Yep, hang on, we're
Yep.
getting to you.
That's Henry's sister.
Henry's sister. Hold on a second.
Okay, go ahead, Caroline.
That's me. Do all of the stuffies have name tags?
I don't know. So I don't think this one does, but this is purple, right? And then we have Penguiny.
And we remembered
this is
Meredith.
And Meredith,
That belongs
yeah.
to Meredith. belongs-
Okay,
that's
and then
hers.
this one
And that's
is
Ginger.
Ginger. We've got Ginger.
She came with a name tag. Yep.
Oh, whoopsie. Sorry, I'm
Ginger.
knocking them all over. I don't mean to be not gentle with them. Ellie. So 2 elephants, 2 T-Rexes,
Big Bunny.
and then Big Bunny. So those are all our friends here today. What do you think I should name my bear?
Oh, that's a good one. You can suggest that.
Maybe Polar.
Polar. That's a good idea. It
Or
is
maybe Pinky.
Pinky or Polar. Those are good names.
Polar.
Maybe Barry.
Berry. Yeah,
And I
maybe
think Sadie.
Berry.
Because he's a bear.
'Cause he's a
Snowball.
bear.
I think Sadie has.
Snowball.
He has another question, so hold on 1 second. Let's get Sadie's question.
What planet would you go to if you could go to?
Do it
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
right there. Right
I
there.
think I would go to Saturn just because I think it looks so neat, and I've seen it through a telescope before. If you ever get a chance to see Saturn through a telescope, it is amazing. But I don't know if we'll make it to Saturn or not in our lifetime. But I wouldn't mind going to Mars just to see it. But maybe Saturn.
I would want to go to Saturn too.
Yeah. It's kind of a pretty looking planet, right?
Anybody else?
All right. We have other questions we're looking here to see.
I don't. Oh, it looks like.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, one more question down here.
There's a line of it has a short one, or yes they did. Only not, it's not with only nothing. One little teeny thing.
She got a new book today that's also about space
Oh,
that she
fun.
wanted to share with you.
Yeah, you know, when you get to go to other
Then
states,
it has,
you know,
yes, a really one.
does she have a
Let's
question?
see. I can't
The
tell.
Aurora one with
You
the
gotta
hand
tell
up?
us. Oh, Aurora.
Well, I just see a
No.
hand there, no?
Let's see. No, I think that's. Oh, maybe Aurora does
Aurora,
have a
do you have
question.
a question?
Uh-huh. Why was the sand going around a rocket ship?
Oh, because there's storms on Mars, and so it can get very windy. And so sometimes Mars is either very, very hot or very, very cold, which causes it to have storms. And sometimes the storms produce lightning, and then sometimes they just produce a lot of wind. So the wind was stirring up all the sand.
Is Mars really dry?
Yes, yeah. They are looking at one of the, they're bringing samples back because they're trying to prove whether or not there was ever water on Mars. But right now, I think that's kind of inconclusive. But yeah, I would say it's pretty dry and hot and cold.
I heard once that that a team from NASA is trying to find life on other planets.
Mm-hmm. There are teams of people that are always looking for planets that kind of resemble Earth because they know, of course, that there's life on Earth. So sometimes they look for planets that might have the same properties as Earth, and so then they could maybe find organisms or other forms of light.
Any more questions, or should?
Oh,
Looks
there's
like
a question there.
that's from Buddy's owner.
Buddy's owner.
Maybe the ship for the rocket ship. Maybe since the rocket's weight was so heavy that it sank down a bit, like
In the sand.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, it's very hard probably to get all the calculations right so things like that don't happen, but that's a very good hypothesis. Sadie again. Sadie, another question from Sadie.
I wanted to know, what is your favorite book that you've written?
That is such a good question, and it's such a hard question to answer because I have a lot of books out, but I love them all. But I will say one of my favorites is probably this one right here. Mary Had a Lab. And you guys probably know the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. So in this story, Mary is a scientist and an inventor, and she creates a sheep in her lab. And it's kind of a silly story, but she ends up making herself a pet sheep, and then all of her friends want one, and she ends up making them all sheep. And then the sheepinator, which is her machine that makes the sheep, goes crazy, and the town has tons and tons of sheep all over it, and then she has to solve that new problem. So it's kind of a funny, silly story, and the illustrations are really fun. So if you do get a chance to check that one out, that's a fun one.
I have the same book.
You do? You have that one? I hope you like it.
And I saw that she moved it her lab by putting it on wheels.
Yes, she moved her lab. So everywhere that Mary went, her lab was sure to go.
Instead of her yam.
Yes, that's right.
And it looks like
Hold on, we've got some more questions.
Henry,
Could you put the hand down?
Virginia,
All right.
Henry.
And
Henry's family.
Henry's family. You have another question?
This is Teddy and I'm Carolyn.
Oh,
I have a National Stuffy too. It's in my room.
oh, well, you can read to it tonight. Maybe you can read it a story tonight.
Okay.
Is that it?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
bedtime? I think it's time to tuck everybody in.
Oh, everybody, you guys all look so cozy and comfortable. I even wore my pajamas here today, and I wore my star socks. Can you see my socks? I tried to get some kind of space theme going, but that was all I had was some star socks. But I'm wearing my Wake Me When Winter is Over pajama shirt. So we're all in pajamas together.
All right.
Is that me?
For the
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go in for a group hug with all the stuffies. Ready? I don't want to know.
And they're going to bed.
Oh, good night. Good night. Good night.
Penguin likes hugs.
They're all going to go to sleep and have a good night's sleep. And do any of these stuffies snore? Just kidding.
Well,
I'm sure they're very quiet.
Penguin doesn't snore. He's very quiet when he's.
Oh, well, that's good. That helps when you're sleeping next to them, right?
Uh-huh.
Thank
That
you.
way it doesn't wake them up.
No, that's right. Thank you guys for joining me for story time, and thank you to Scrawl Books for hosting this lovely event. It was so fun. I'm so glad I got to meet all of your stuffy friends. Hopefully soon in the future, I'll be at Scrawl and I can maybe meet you in person.